So I'm going to tell you about a trip we recently took, all highway driving at 75 plus miles per hour. How much battery was left? I will tell you this. We started the day at 100% and we ended the day at near zero. So first of all, should you be worried about range anxiety? Well, if you're going on a road trip that is thousands of miles, just know that you can go on Tesla's website /trips and it will tell you which superchargers to stop at. Let's say you're driving across the country. There are superchargers in every single major city, but this road trip was a little less involved. We were going up north to a fall festival, so let's get into it. So here we are. You can see on the map, we were driving 62 miles. Doesn't sound like a lot. Well, listen to this. When I started the morning in my rear wheel drive, I've had this car for over 20,000 miles. It's a 2021 rear wheel drive Model 3. Now on the website, it says you get around 250 plus miles. Well, normal battery degradation, you're going to lose some of those miles. So point number one, that is something to think about. So 62 miles, now 100% charge got me around 230 miles. Well, clearly 62 miles there and 62 miles back. I should have surely made it with plenty of miles, right? So this should have been straightforward, but things like the AC that you're running in the car affects your range. Even the rims that you have with these standard aero rims giving you more range than the alloy ones that I have from Tesla. Your speed limit also matters. So all these things collectively, let me tell you this story. So we were going to a fall festival, give or take an hour away, and I started my day at 100%. Now 62 miles, I actually got there to the location, and I'll just tell you straight away, it took about 100 miles off my range. So this is something to think about. Like we just said, things like your speed and even the temperature outside can affect your battery life. So just to give you some food for thought, you can see on the map here, it should be, well, it's not miles per mile. If you Google it, it's not 62 miles. I spent around 100 miles just getting there. So range anxiety, can you get stressed about, well, am I going to have enough range? Again, this is the smallest battery as far as miles go for a Tesla currently on the market. And I just said it took me about 100 miles. So when I got there to the fall festival, I was at 135 miles, give or take. So on the way home, will it take another 100 miles, leaving me plenty of miles? Well, listen to this. First of all, superchargers. If you are in a more remote location, you can search for a supercharger near your location. In your car, your Tesla will actually precondition the battery, which will help it charge even faster. So a little tip that I would give you, if you find yourself needing a supercharger, make sure to put the navigation to that supercharger in your Tesla, so your car actually knows to precondition. If I needed to supercharge on this trip, you can actually see right here how close one was actually to us, about 7 miles away or a 10-minute drive. So again, if you are in a rural area, you can look up those superchargers, and keep in mind, you can also use public level 2 chargers like Charge Across America or whatever happens to be, and that can help you charge your Tesla as well. So you are really looking at that range as you're driving home or wherever it happens to be, because on those unplanned stops, those miles could go away fairly quickly if you're not paying attention to that. So you're kind of looking at your monitor, your screen on your way home to make sure you have enough miles even for the unexpected. So here's what happened. So a tip that I do want to give you that I did not even think about until now making this video is I wish I would have put my car into chill mode. And a lot of those differences you'll see on the acceleration. So in chill mode, obviously it's less of an aggressive acceleration, but I'm pretty sure that would have helped my range. The cabin was set at around 68 degrees, and I think the fan speed was probably 6 or 7, and I was in autopilot for most of the trip. What I will tell you is on the way home, I was driving manually and I was going faster than 75 miles per hour. I was a little heavy-footed on the acceleration. So how much miles did I end up once I got home? So again, on the way up, it estimated 62 miles on the map. It actually took me 100 miles off of my range of my Tesla. On the way down, of course, the same estimated miles, and it still took me 100 miles. I actually ended up at home with 37 miles, so plenty to spare. And again, I did take over autopilot. I drove manually, I was driving faster, but all in all, it was very, very reliable. So here's what 62 miles looks like. So again, these 62 miles around the city where I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, those 62 physical miles took me on this given mini road trip 100 miles off of my range. So I had 230 at the beginning of the day. Again, this is physically 62 miles around the city. That would have taken me 100 in this scenario. So something to think about. How far can you go on 100% charge? Well, I almost ended up at 0, but fortunately in this case, the car was very, very reliable and it ended at 37. So this was the first time that I've driven about an hour and 15 minutes, all highway one way and then all highway back. Typically where I'm going, it's side roads, it's maybe a little bit of highway, just based on where I live. You saw I'm basically in the city. This one was pretty far up north, so I had to drive on the highway quite a bit. So hopefully you enjoyed that little mini experiment, that mini road trip. And if you did, the only way I know that you enjoyed it is to drop a like and consider subscribing for more of these kind of videos, reviews on my Tesla and more. Again, this is Matt from Frunk to Trunk. We will see you in the next video.